Tonight, a stunning development on our northern border. Canada has blockaded the Alaska Highway, cutting off the primary land route to Alaska for all non-essential American traffic. Thousands are stranded, and Alaska's critical supply line is severed. The closure, announced by Prime Minister Trudeau, cites unresolved sovereignty disputes and environmental concerns. Canadian officers and RCMP are turning away American vehicles at key checkpoints. For Alaska's 730,000 residents, this is a crisis. Goods, travel, and family connections are suddenly in jeopardy. Sea and air routes remain, but they're costly and insufficient for Alaska's needs. The world's longest undefended border is now a symbol of division, not friendship. As families and businesses scramble, the continent holds its breath, waiting for what comes next. Former President Donald Trump wasted absolutely no time in making his voice heard, immediately blasting the Canadian blockade on his social media platform, Truth Social. As soon as news broke about the situation at the border, Trump took to his phone, firing off a series of posts that quickly caught the attention of both his supporters and the media. His reaction was swift, forceful, and unmistakably in line with his signature style. Direct, confrontational, and designed to stir up strong emotions. In a now viral post, Trump declared, "A total disgrace. They're blocking our great people from Alaska. This would never happen if I was in the White House." The message, written in all caps, was meant to leave no doubt about his outrage. His words quickly spread across social media, igniting heated debates and drawing sharp lines between supporters and critics. The post resonated with many who felt frustrated by the ongoing crisis, and it set the tone for the political firestorm that was about to unfold. Trump's posts didn't stop there. He rapidly shifted the blame to the current administration, accusing them of being weak and ineffective. He claimed that President Biden and his team were allowing America to be pushed around on the world stage, and that their lack of action was putting American citizens at risk. Trump's criticism was relentless, and he made it clear that he believed only strong leadership could resolve the crisis. In another post, Trump issued a stark warning: if they don't open that road, there will be consequences. Big consequences. The threat was unmistakable, and it sent shockwaves through both political circles and the general public. Trump's words were designed to pressure the administration into taking immediate action, and to rally his base around the idea of standing up for American interests. His rhetoric quickly turned the border crisis into a major political flashpoint, demanding not just attention, but decisive, forceful action. The debate over how to respond became a central issue on cable news and social media, with commentators and politicians weighing in from all sides. Trump's intervention made it clear that this was no longer just a regional dispute, it was now a national controversy. Trump's high-profile involvement has dramatically raised the stakes, putting intense pressure on the Biden administration to respond forcefully and decisively. The White House now faces mounting scrutiny, with every move being analyzed for signs of strength or weakness. The administration's response will likely have lasting implications for both domestic politics and international relations. Across the country, Trump's supporters have echoed his outrage, framing the blockade as a direct attack on American sovereignty and pride. Rallies and protests have sprung up, with people waving flags and demanding action. For many, this crisis has become a symbol of broader frustrations with the current government and a rallying cry for change. The Alaska Highway crisis has now become a centerpiece in America's ongoing political battles, dominating headlines and fueling passionate debates in Congress. Lawmakers are divided on how best to resolve the situation, with some calling for diplomacy and others demanding a show of strength. Trump's voice continues to dominate the debate, setting a high bar for what his base, and much of the country, will accept as a resolution. His influence is undeniable, shaping the conversation and putting pressure on all sides to take a stand. The diplomatic standoff has now become a true test of leadership on the national stage, with the world watching to see how America will respond. The outcome will not only affect the immediate crisis but could also redefine the balance of power and the tone of US-Canada relations for years to come. Why did Canada take this drastic step? The answer lies in years of unresolved disputes. Canada cites two main issues: Arctic sovereignty and US environmental policy. Disagreements over the Northwest Passage have intensified as melting ice opens new shipping routes. Canada sees the blockade as leverage to force US negotiations. Environmental frustration is also high. Ottawa blames U.S. pollution and fears increased highway traffic threatens fragile ecosystems. Trade disputes and a sense of being the junior partner have fueled Canadian nationalism. Trudeau faces domestic pressure to stand up to the U.S., making this a bold political gamble. Canadian officials say years of ignored diplomatic efforts left them no choice. Whether justified or reckless, the blockade is a product of deep frustration and failed diplomacy. For Alaskans, the blockade is a personal crisis. The Alaska Highway is their lifeline, connecting families, businesses, and communities to the lower 48. Its closure means skyrocketing prices, supply shortages, and stalled construction projects. Military families and retirees are stranded, separated from loved ones and homes. The psychological toll is immense. Alaskans are resilient, but this man-made barrier brings new uncertainty. Access to medical care, family emergencies, and the state's economic future are all at risk. The sense of isolation is deeper than ever. This isn't a challenge from nature, but a sudden wall from a friendly neighbor. On the last frontier, life just got a lot more precarious. Across the U.S., the blockade sparked confusion and disbelief. In Seattle and border states, the news dominated conversations. Canada did what? Truckers and small businesses faced sudden unemployment and lost income. Social media exploded, #CanadaBlockade and #FreeAlaska trended with calls for retaliation and memes flooding timelines. Some demand a tough response. Others urge calm and diplomacy, recognizing Canada's grievances. For families with loved ones in Alaska, anxiety is high, plans canceled, reunions uncertain. "It's terrifying to think of her being so cut off," said one mother. The crisis is more than politics, it's a human story of separation and fear. The world's friendliest border now feels like a wall. Americans are left wondering how relations soured so quickly. In Washington, the sudden blockade has triggered a political firestorm, sending shockwaves through the halls of power. Lawmakers and officials scramble to respond, as the nation's capital buzzes with urgent meetings and late-night strategy sessions. The sense of crisis is palpable, with reporters camped outside government buildings, eager for any sign of resolution or escalation. The White House quickly condemned Canada's move as unproductive and harmful, calling for calm and dialogue. Yet officials stopped short of issuing direct threats, instead emphasizing the need for de-escalation and cooperation. The administration is keenly aware that any misstep could worsen the standoff, so every word is carefully chosen, every statement weighed for its diplomatic impact. Behind closed doors, tense negotiations are underway. U.S. diplomats press for an immediate end to the blockade, arguing that it endangers lives and disrupts vital supply chains. Canadian officials, however, remain firm, insisting that their grievances must be addressed before any resolution can be reached. The atmosphere is charged, with both sides wary of making concessions that could be seen as weakness. Meanwhile, Congress is deeply divided. Some lawmakers demand swift sanctions and tough retaliation, arguing that the U.S. must defend its interests and send a clear message. Others urge restraint, warning that aggressive action could spark a damaging trade war and further strain the historic alliance. The debate is heated, with passionate arguments on both sides. The administration faces immense pressure from all directions. If they act too weakly, they risk emboldening rivals and undermining America's global standing. But if they respond too forcefully, they could shatter the fragile partnership with Canada and set off unintended consequences. Every decision is fraught with risk, and the stakes could not be higher. Officials weigh a range of options, from launching legal challenges in international courts to organizing a costly airlift to keep Alaska supplied. Each path comes with its own set of challenges, costs, and uncertainties, forcing leaders to consider not just immediate needs, but long-term repercussions. Every move is fraught with risk for both countries. The wrong step could deepen the crisis, while a well-timed gesture might open the door to compromise. Both governments know that their choices now will be scrutinized for years to come. The stakes are enormous: economic stability, national pride, and the very future of U.S.-Canada relations hang in the balance. Businesses on both sides of the border brace for impact, while ordinary citizens watch anxiously, aware that their livelihoods could be at risk. Around the globe, the world is watching closely. Allies and rivals alike monitor every development, wondering whether diplomacy or confrontation will ultimately prevail. The outcome could set a precedent for how nations resolve disputes in an increasingly interconnected world. The next steps taken by both countries could define their relationship for decades to come, shaping not only their own futures, but the broader landscape of international diplomacy. The blockade's economic shockwaves reach far beyond Alaska. Pacific Northwest warehouses are jammed with goods bound for Alaska, now stuck. Truckers and logistics companies face sudden unemployment, rippling through local economies. Rerouting by sea or air is costly, forcing some businesses to halt operations. The uncertainty shakes investor confidence in cross-border trade. Tourism collapses, RV rentals, motels, and tour operators face mass cancellations. The once stable border is now a source of risk, threatening small towns and big corporations alike. The economic pain is a stark reminder of how fragile even the friendliest borders can be. Experts say Canada's move is a calculated act of asymmetric diplomacy, a bold maneuver that has caught many by surprise. By taking this step, Canada is signaling its willingness to challenge the status quo and assert its interests on the global stage, even if it means facing significant risks. Dr. Evelyn Reed notes, Canada can't match US power, so it's leveraging Alaska's isolation. She explains that by focusing on a region that is both strategically vital and geographically remote, Canada is forcing the US to confront vulnerabilities it rarely considers. This is not just about territory, it's about influence, leverage, and sending a message that Canada will not be sidelined in matters that affect its sovereignty. Military analysts warn that replacing the highway with airlifts or sea lifts would be a logistical nightmare, costing billions and falling short of meeting the region's needs. The sheer scale of the operation, combined with harsh Arctic conditions, would stretch resources thin and create new security challenges. The disruption could also impact local communities, indigenous populations, and critical supply chains. Economists caution against retaliation. Canada is a top US trading partner, and a trade war would hurt both sides. Billions of dollars in goods and services cross the border every day, supporting millions of jobs. Any escalation could ripple through industries from agriculture to technology, causing uncertainty in global markets and threatening economic stability. The only real solution is negotiation. Both nations must come to the table with open minds and a willingness to compromise, recognizing that their long-term relationship is more important than any single dispute. The US will likely need to address Canada's concerns over Arctic sovereignty and environmental policy. These issues have simmered for years, and now demand serious attention. Finding common ground on environmental protection, indigenous rights, and resource management will be crucial for lasting peace. It won't be easy, political pride is at stake, and both sides face pressure from domestic audiences to stand firm. The path forward will require patience, empathy, and a willingness to see beyond short-term political gains. Dr. Reed concludes, Canada has played a strong card. The US must recognize their concerns and negotiate in good faith. She emphasizes that only through honest dialogue can both countries avoid a damaging standoff and preserve their partnership. The alternative? A fractured continent with no winners. If talks break down, the consequences could be far-reaching, affecting not just North America, but the entire world. The crisis is a test of statesmanship and vision. It challenges leaders to rise above politics and act in the best interests of their people and the planet. The world waits for leaders to choose dialogue over division, hoping that wisdom and cooperation will prevail in these uncharted waters. July 18, 2025. The Alaska Highway remains closed, and North America is more divided than ever. Canada's blockade has isolated Alaska, sparked economic turmoil, and ignited a political storm. The US faces a choice: escalate with retaliation, risking a trade war, or negotiate and seek compromise. The pressure to act is immense, but the cost of miscalculation is even higher. The world's longest undefended border now feels weaponized. Can trust and friendship be restored, or is something broken forever? The fate of Alaska, the North American economy, and the US-Canada alliance hangs in the balance. Tonight, a border once defined by unity stands as a line of division.